Before we go on to the questions, I would like it if everyone would join me in a gesture of gratitude. Of offering our minds to the pure wisdom of clarity, of offering our speech to the manifestation of truth through the spoken word. And our bodies to the pure expression of ourselves as the pure manifestation of self in action. Thank you. The force of your being is the force of life itself, the force of evolution. And this force is knocking all of our doors. It awaits our complete willingness to surrender to it. We do, however, have a task in that of allowing the full balancing with our hearts as well as the balance with our individual beings. There is a deep call for our investigation, for our discovery of truth across all of these dimensions that are available to us as being, as soul, as source. And sometimes we have to allow the personal sacrifices that happen when life suggests our gentle drop into the impersonal, which is being itself. I get a question here now, which says, is there a blockage, a part of my mind or ego, if I feel spirit take over my head but not my whole body during deep meditation? The deepest invitation is to allow our complete penetration through the entire body space. As it is right now, for you specifically, there is a stronger penetration going on in your headspace. There is, however, a time for everything. And that invitation of allowing the full surrender and the full giving over of our body. Yeah, it's got its phases, and in that there is a time for everything. So when you allow your deepest surrender, to the extent that energy right there chooses to penetrate your headspace more than your body space, just know that it's the rest will come along. When your being is good and ready to pick up the keys of surrender deeper and deeper into that body space of yours. That will happen through the eradication of fear in these different alleys of your being. Fear of life, fear of being, and fear of non-existence. Did that answer your question? Very good. As we are invited deeper and deeper into reality, it does affect every imaginable and even unimaginable subtle layer of our being. This force that I was speaking of before, that force of evolution, the force of your being, can only be invited by a sincere dedication to truth. The sincere devotion to allow a full meeting and a full investigation of every angle of yourself. As we allow this investigation to happen, our being gains more and more space as these layers of misunderstandings, both within the psyche, within the body space, across our sense of feeling and our thinking mind. As these layers fall off, we get greater and greater access, more and more space is freed up to our arrival as being. It's a gradual lift in vibration. It's a sliding into a higher and higher state of consciousness, a stronger and stronger sense of being, you yourself. And it requires our full agreement to invite as well as take the consequence of allowing our beings to transform in every area that invites for transformation. And it can be all the way out from the meeting with the emptiness itself, where we have to stop resisting our complete deletion. Right there, that embrace of truth, which is actually the death of ourselves. So that's on one level, in that breath of consciousness. Secondly, there is the whole eradication of our personal sense of feeling in terms of the purification of heart and a full coming into the innocence and sincerity of our willingness to surrender, as a full embrace of that one being which is ourselves in the grandest sense, but which we have to allow the full surrender to, which we have to completely acknowledge to be the unknown, as long as it is unknown. In one way, you could say that the invitation there is that every death invites for a new rising of self, a new conclusion, a new me. And by that arrival and rising of the new me, there is another invitation for identification to happen. An identification which, when it happens, invites for another death, a deeper death into the heart. That drop, whether we speak of the head space, the heart space, or the stomach, that dropping is endless. But while the dropping is endless, the identification happening within each sphere, each dimension of being, is not. Our capacity to create a grasping at that which reveals itself as being, that capacity is not endless. It also means that the reoccurring me must be given over again and again.
Hello.
Hi. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I just feel very confused right now, and I'm trying to get what you say or integrate it in my being. I don't know the question yet, but it's it's like 1 year before I felt like empty and what's coming from the outside, there's nothing here.
Mm-hmm.
And now my reality is mostly like something going on inside of me and something reacting to what's coming from the outside. But I don't have this, I see clearly what's happening outside of me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there, it feels like I'm dropping deeper into my belly and then get confused with, it changes something in my mind and my heart, and then it's going deeper and like power rising, and I feel like I have to vomit when I don't let it pass. And yeah, this is not a question actually, but I'm just maybe.
Yeah. As that deeper drop into the stomach is happening, there's a cleaning out which is happening. And it's anything but nice. When you speak about the that drop, this is the burping, the burping phase. When we make that drop deeper into the stomach. For you specifically, it counts that there has been a waiting for a you coming into a stronger sense of you. You used to be all over the place, and that part of coming into landing down into your own body is incredibly significant. It's also an ignition of your solar plexus in its positive way. What it's waiting for is that there is a learning within your being around how to allow the translation between that individual of yours and the space of your heart. It's like that heart is it's almost like you're bringing or having to bring your heart deeply down into your stomach. And just like there is a talking a lot about paving the way between the heart and the mind, which definitely needs to happen for there being no one home up here. There is also a needing to come to pave the same way of recognition between the heart and the God itself. In this way we can, it's not something we do, but it's something we can invite. We can invite that alignment between our individuality and the space and wisdom which can reveal as pure mind. And we can allow those two to come together in an as heart. And that's the same as inviting heart to do the thinking and heart to do the acting and to hold the integrity of your individual being. It's a learning process, and I can tell you that it's not possible to enter deeply into the stomach space as being itself without coming to terms with every angle of your conditioning. And right here I'm talking about the fact that all of the misunderstandings that we're holding as human beings, not as heart and not as mind, but as human beings, the misunderstandings we are holding there, as long as this landing into the stomach hasn't happened, our growth into the heart space and our growth into mind itself will always have this like reflection of that which is not healed deeply at the bottom of our beings. So it will always cast that reflection. So that invitation of coming into the stomach is a deeper invitation into allowing that clearing on a very human level. It doesn't feel good, and there is a deep, when we talk about strong beings, it also has its price in terms of this integration. For some beings, it's harder to allow that deep entry into the body space, but actually it's a key. It's a key of consciousness which needs to be plugged in between that recognition and realization and the very physical matter itself, the body. But when this is clicked into place, it does not go unseen or unnoticed that the integration is taking place. That key of integration, as you say, it's almost like if you don't let go, you vomit. If being itself that wants to come in is strong enough, it will tell you exactly how things need to be. And right there, it's very significant that you allow yourself to simply fully dedicate yourself to what life is trying to show you through yourself, because you are constantly a reflection in terms of what's going on around you. You are constantly the reflection of the levels of misunderstanding in terms of what's around you, in terms of the truth that people are invited to into by being around you. So everything that you touch is constantly touched by whatever is clear, and thereby also not clear within you. So this is what invites your challenges in life and all of this. And this, of course, it's a great invitation. Yeah.
Thank you a lot.
Did this answer your question, Thomas? Even if there was no question.
I think so. And what I understood is like getting the shit, or let the shit arise and just dive into it and be with it.
Yes.
For me, it's like being myself.
Yes.
Being authentic, or just live this human being. Is that what you said?
Yes. Within this, even there is evolution going on. So that part of being yourself, you will see that in that dedication of yours, that like the strength of your being will meet up against your human being, and they will merge. And this will mean that you will, and this is also where we need to really look at our relationship with pain. Because our relationship with pain, and here I'm talking about that which ignites itself and is transformed in our willingness to allow the pain of the conditioning to be the case. It's extremely unpleasant. But if we do not retract from situations, if we do not retract from the pain itself, and we do not go in to ignite and like ride on the pain, if we can be quiet with the pain, right there, the misunderstandings, they turn into clarity, and it becomes like a really, really solid entry of learning within being that happens all the way down on a human level. Right there is a forging of keys within our beings, and it's very much related to relating, our relationship with everything. Because our relationship with everything, and that includes our body, our self, our surroundings, our families, strangers, friends, work, our relationship with everything which is going on in our living lives, is determined by whether or not we are able to come in through that human being as love. And that relationship is what is purified. And right there we will also see that in our relating with people, with family, whatever appears as a part of our relating in this world, that they all are a reflection of that pain which is trying to somehow find its way out of existence through our being. So when we cannot close ourselves off in terms of denying the pain of existence, and thereby I mean matter, I mean earth itself, when we cannot deny that pain and we can allow the pain to pass through us, then right there, all of that pain which has been accumulating through ages, and like all of these, what is that word? Doesn't matter. Like the family and all of its generations, all of that pain which has been just accumulating, and that we're standing with it here now. Instead of coming into that idea that awakening is about the transcending in a way of getting out of here. If we can right there allow the whole penetration of the pain of matter and the non-existence and the coming into the full capacity of being itself on all of the different levels of being, specifically through the human being, then that whole accumulation of pain, it ends right here. And this is a part of our relationship, our responsibility now. Because the whole world right now is becoming and has become a reflection of that pain. And that means that there is a deep call for everyone to take this responsibility of allowing it all to simply just pass through the system and become nothing, become love itself. Yeah. So, enough about that. But the relationship with pain is very significant in this, because when it comes to the stomach space, when it comes to the human being, we grow into a capacity as human beings where we no longer have to deny the pain of matter, of mother, of earth. And that's where we start landing as being in our bodies. Yes. Thank you. Good to see you again, Thomas. You can turn. All right. So I have a question here in the chat window. I have a question from Christine. She says, I'm in a constant unfolding and clearing from the moment I wake up until I go to sleep. This has been for more than a year. Any suggestions? Some days I have to cancel plans and it's hard to predict to make plans. I'm aware that maybe this is a gift or destiny. Yeah. Well, in a way you could say that as human beings we have different soul blueprints, and it means that there are souls of different ages, so to speak. And the stronger that willingness and readiness is to surrender, and even if the willingness is less direct from the conscious point of view, there is at this point in time less and less the option of approaching this from a choice. In one sense, you could say that there's no choice to be made. The choice is to constantly allow our living lives to catch up with the reality of what's going on right now. And right there, I'm talking about that transition that we are going through in terms of coming into a higher vibration of being. The constant unfolding and clearing is only a problem to the someone who is there. And that means that there is an ongoing and constant call for you to give up that someone who has a life which is trying to be lived on the side of what life is suggesting. Because life is the only thing that's here, and the you which would like things to be different or something else to be going on than what life wants to be happening is actually that which sidesteps on being in your full surrender. That means that it's the rising of separation from life itself. Yes. Right now there are like quite a lot of questions coming in, so I'm just gonna yeah, okay. So in any case, surrendering that someone, and our life can be very affected in periods of time. But I can tell you that the greater our surrender becomes towards allowing the wanting to be replaced by the pure will of our hearts and of our life as it's happening, as that surrender, as the unfolding, as the clearing, the more free that life becomes, the more surrendered we become. We will see that our sense of feeling becomes more and more able to align itself with what life wants to be the case. And right there, the plans that starts happening doesn't happen from a place of what we want to happen. It happens from a place of deep surrender, of listening, and in any case and always letting go of the investment in whatever is invited to happen. Because right there, life is free and it can take whatever direction is supposed to be the case. So deeper surrender and deeper surrender is my suggestion. Yes. Okay. I'm going to go for the next question here.
Basically, I resonate very much when you speak on, I heard you say thirst for being, something that is there every day, and I sense a lot of sadness every day, a lot of longing, and also so much joy turning up.
Mm-hmm.
And lately you wrote something that I wanted to go back to it and I couldn't find it. So it was about be a seeker, be a searcher, something like that. It started in that way. And then I recognize something that I've seen, of course not just once, but it has such a drift, it's so driven that it's almost constant in behind the scenes, and sense of me doing or me doing wrong in terms of, you already mentioned it now, there was something in what you said in the text that I keep returning to kind of wanting to see. I mean, basically staying in silence, I know that, but it also becomes passivity, or it becomes So it's tricky. I just see that it's tricky. So then at times movement comes from a real place, and then at times it's the fake. And just put it in a way that that something in me kind of stop for a moment, in a way of. But the doer is very active. I mean, even though I'm so exhausted, I mean, even when you invite for a question, I have a lot of questions, but I'm very exhausted around even reaching out in terms of understanding. And this is true, and at the same time, I feel very alive at times. So it's tricky for me.
Thing is, though, that when you say this about the sitting still and the being still while sitting still, that's one thing, yeah? That's where you could come to the recognition of the silence. But what needs to happen is a translation of that silence into and as life itself. And for that to happen, there needs to be a learning within your being of how to transform that someone who rises with life. This happens through a learning to love. The learning to love will force you to pass through any gate in you where fear is guarding you from being completely open. This openness that I'm talking about is the openness of no one being the controller of your life, that there is no doer. So when everything is standing open, there's nothing going into self-protection or contraction based on fear of losing, fear of becoming, fear of unbecoming, like all of these different fears as they arise in the system. What's waiting to happen right there is that you come into an agreement to drop the confusion within yourself. And this can only happen by choosing, and right now I'm pointing towards your consciousness specifically, that there is a choice of love over fear, which needs to happen within you in every moment. And this choice is the choice of truth to be the case, of silence to be the case, despite the fact that life can be moving at such a high tempo. So it's calling for you to come into an honest relation with your family, for instance. Your family specifically has a place in you which is very fear igniting. It's, as far as I can see, it's because on the bottom line of your person and your personality, there is a great covering in of safety at the very bottom of you. It's like the family covers something which points towards something safety related. I can't put words to it right now. I can just see it when I look at you. It's almost like a point. It's almost like a point down into your being, and this safety needs to be constantly let go to the happening of truth and of love in your family life. Because right there, it's the same as choosing the honesty of being completely true, the honesty of coming into the blackness of your own being, as light, as love itself, so that the matter and the light of your life, the light of yourself as love, can merge and become one with Rodrigo.
You did something very important. It's a lot of pointers. But definitely there's something around safety, and when you speak, I see and I feel and I know that the self is taking a responsibility and I don't understand that I don't have it as a father, as a son, as a family member. husband. And I kind of feel that it's pointing towards that I kind of stick to that responsibility, which is a selfish, it's false self. Having a story around that.
What you need to see is... Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, definitely. That's just what comes up. But I do hear what you say about choosing love at a new moment. And honestly towards and I see that changing.
What I'm saying is that there is for you to be able to be completely true with your surroundings, including your family, there is a depersonalization that needs to happen at the very root of yourself as love. Because it's like the very core of identity keeps on rising from that core of craving safety. And on one hand, you can put it up against the idea of responsibility. Because as far as I can see, this is the excuse that's being used within your system. But this responsibility needs to be seen in its grandest perspective. Because the responsibility to be true, and thereby I mean love in its complete unconditional invitation. Right there, it's a removal of that core of there being made something out of love in terms of your person. It's like on the very core of you, there's being made something out of that responsibility which you're talking about, that you're holding. So there is a grasping at the bottom of you towards this personifying love. And the thing is that we can come into love in its cleanest, clearest sense, and we can miss the individual sense of this. We can miss the part that love, despite it being completely impersonal, that it's also completely personal. And you know this part about love being personal, but within that there is something which is not letting go and allowing the completely impersonal to be the case at the same time. And that's the same as overstepping the reality that God is the one deciding what is to happen with everything. So there's a self-protection happening. There's a protection of your family happening, but it's happening from a place of distrust in life itself. So the safety is a straight reflection into this distrust. Yeah.
I mean, when you say it, I sense the truth of trusting God, if that's the word.
Yeah, whatever we call it.
But it's more that how can I? I mean, I think I have been asking myself, what is it? No, I don't care about the concept. What is this sensing of knowing the connection? Why so much?
Do you know why all of this sadness and grief is there?
Disconnection? Separation?
Yeah. It's because you're making something out of your family. And that's not love. You're overstepping the most crucial point, and that is your direct meeting with pure self or God or whatever we want to call it. That complete unity within the heart sphere of you, that union comes prior to all else. That there must be a resting in the heart with that unity being the case before the love can become personal. Because otherwise it just becomes a love which is based on hierarchies within your heart structure, within your sense of feeling. So all of these hierarchies needs to go, and that's the same as on a completely self-related plane of existence, that you're going to lose your family. as someone, you are going to lose your family. And this you need to face, because otherwise you are choosing your family to be something apart from God itself.
Yeah. What I hear is, if I may, that I'm choosing the relative before my heart as a
Exactly.
family of God.
Exactly.
And what I hear, it seems like, yes, I am afraid of losing them, but even it seems more precise to say, it says that I'm leaving them.
You are.
That I'm leaving them. That I'm goodbye. I'm going in a way that it doesn't feel. It brings me to sadness. It feels like I leave them when I go to that place that you are. I hear the truth of what you're saying.
Yes.
You sharing it.
And it's true in one sense.
Painful in the. It's been like a commitment that I took oath from. I found my heart to share this life and share this moment in time.
Yeah, but what you need to see.
Gifted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What you need to see is that in every moment of life happening, of love being born, death is also the case. In every moment, Rodrigo. And that's the death part is the one you're skipping. What our job is, in terms of being in relations, is to let life and thereby love and death happen in the exact same moment. Because right there, we're not being someone grasping the love which is present. And that's what's going on. You feel like you leave them, but you're not leaving them. You are allowing yourself to arrive as being itself, and that's the greatest gift you can give anyone. What's happening here is that your someone is losing them, and that's the part that hurts you so much. But that someone needs to give up that attachment to the family, because that's the only way that life and death can be the case in the exact same moment. And that is where love is born. And it's painful, yes. And the pain, right now you're caught in the middle, because you stand with the pain of that continuous pounding on the door from the inside, from that longing, that longing for that union with life itself. But at the same time, you're standing from the someone and like holding back with all you've got to keep your family. But all I have to say to you are 2 words. Let go. I feel your pain, brother. And it's time to give up, in the best sense of the word. Because what you're doing is tormenting yourself, calling yourself as being from one side, and denying to respond from the other. And it creates misery. It creates suffering. Welcome to duality. It's crazy.
It's funny because now I feel that the safety of it. It's like at the same time I'm leaving them, I'm dropping out of life. That's the idea. I know it's a belief. A sense of waste. No need for this guy. He's leaving his family. And that safety, it's like I'm grasping for, I want to stay with it. The idea.
There is a full-on you will, the greatest, what's the word? What's waiting is that you're born into that willingness and capacity to let life live, to let death happen in every moment. Because when you do that, you will go through all different kinds of states, and some of them will require your actions. The ones that keep on like pounding, like this needs to happen, you need to let that happen. It's very simple. It's like the only thing you can do to, if you don't let that happen, is to deny yourself. But if you don't deny yourself, then it's like allowing the space and the capacity of yourself to grow more and more in, to allow those things that pounds the door from being itself, to allow them to happen, simply because it's what life is demanding, what life is not suggesting. It's the will, it's the pure will. And as that happens, it's like it's a fine dance between the front end of our beings and the back end coming in as being itself, because the front end needs to do its best, and that also means being willing to hold the space for whatever wants to happen, but also whatever wants to fall off. And I mean it's a part of it. It's a part of the whole learning to know what to let live and to know what to let die. And that requires your listening, because it's a part of learning to love. Yeah.
It's sinking in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, you can mute you. Okay. So we have some questions here. Okay, so there's a question here. I dreamt meeting a 15-year-old abandoned girl. Wait. I was told I was the mother. I was in total amnesia about it, but I wanted to take care of her. This is how it feels, retrieving parts of my being that has been denied both higher and lower aspects. It feels impossible to see until it's not. Any way I can facilitate this further, except for surrender, dedication, and acceptance. Yeah, I can tell you that a part of coming into fruition, into a fulfillment as human being, is based on our coming into a healthy relationship with our human soul. And the human soul is a sweet, I could say fragile little thing, but it's not really fragile. It's just more, it's that it's really, really vulnerable. And until we've grown into a capacity of being truly vulnerable, it can seem like a fragile thing. What needs to happen is that we come into gradually a more and more fulfilled love for this human soul of ours. Because right there we're coming in as consciousness, and what happens there is that our eyes, they turn downwards, and it becomes as consciousness a deep holding of the body space. And right there we meet what most people have at this point in time. Right there is a wounded child, and this wounded child is the result of not having had a proper key of the masculine and the feminine put into our beings from our father and mother first thing. Most of us have had parents which has had their own conditioning in one way or another. So what's waiting to happen is that there is a translation and a transition from that separation from being completely one with our human being as consciousness. So this happens as a deep reconnection with ourselves through our emotion, through our sense of feeling. And this sense of feeling then is being based on coming into the integrity of being able to hold ourselves in love. And right there, we're actually having to step in and mother ourselves. Because right there, we're coming in and needing to be the nurturer of this child which wasn't cared for. That the fact that even our parents were focusing on matter and on our bodies as the reflection of us, or the identity of us, rather than seeing our souls and being able to fully invite the souls into existence. Yeah. So that was a few words about that. As you say, we cannot see it until we can, but what we can do is consciously come into a full-on relationship with ourselves as human being. It's almost like our human being is an animal, and this animal needs to be held in love. When it's held in love, there is no limit to its joy, to its relaxation, to its capacity and even will to work. And when I say work, I mean to allow you as being and to allow consciousness and love to be the case in its flow in and out through everything. So this is a significant part of coming to be a functional human being in this world. Yeah. Okay, I'm going on to the next question. Yes. Okay. When it comes to cleaning up the human in every angle, the conditioning of self-destruction and self-sabotage is very strong here, as you know. This becomes a big obstacle in terms of surrendering deeper. I would like to have some clarification on this self-defeating behavior, which doesn't serve me at all. All right, so within your being, we have two movements. We have the movement which is fear-based, which is not only fear-based, but which is deeply self-hating in terms of hating existence, hating matter, and thereby hating your own body. And on the other hand, we have consciousness, and we have the invitation for a gentleness, a nurturing gentleness, and the arrival as the mother, which needs to happen. One of them being extremely strict and sharp, and which in a way is the igniter and the bringer beyond existence. The other, and right there I'm not talking about like self-hating, but in a way the core of that which comes as a cut through, when that is twisted by the ego and by identification itself, by the happening of identification, it becomes self-destructive, like pointing straight towards the human and towards our flourishing as being itself. So the self-defeating behavior, what needs to happen is, like I said before, that we come into a healthy relationship with ourselves as human being, but that happening from a will to meet the deep pain which is underlying that which is self-defeating, that which is sabotaging. Because it's much easier to go with the defeat, to go with the sabotage and the self-destruction, than actually allow a meeting with that which is under it, which is deep existential pain. And to meet these wounds of our existence, we need to allow ourselves to come into a more and more and more, or the more and more and more gentle aspect of being, which is the mother, the nurturer. Yeah. So this is a piece of work to be done, because it's like different people have different aspects of being, or I could say different I guess aspect does it. Different aspects of being that are harder for them to gain access to. And space itself, while everything actually just comes down to realization in terms of emptying out and a coming as perception into a full fruition, a full recognition of ourself as any aspect, or of truth as any aspect. Because self is completely, self is existential. No self, or pure mind, or the primordial silence is non-existential. And we all have different angles where the fear is completely dominating our lives. And this is what makes us different, because basically when it comes down to it, source is source. And the blueprint of our soul is that, and I mean the very, the karmic treasure that we're coming in with. And I call it treasure for a reason, because while everyone is trying to get rid of karma, which is actually the point, it's more about the gem which is hidden and which actually unfolds as the very potential of your very own being through that resolve of the karmic. You could call it debt, but it sounds so negative. In a way, it's like, in one sense, our invitation has become a more and more and more suffering situation here now. But it's also like everything that has happened and every wounding that we have gone through is at the bottom of everything an invitation for us to come fully and more and more and more deeply into the potential of being itself. So the pain that we need to go through and everything that we need to transform is actually just a reflection of the real potential of life itself here and now at this stage of the evolution of consciousness. Yeah. So the self-defeating, there needs to be a stepping into full responsibility for every time that you see that which goes hard on yourself, within yourself. There is a requirement for you right there to choose the softness and to gradually break down that like web of self-hatred which is weaved inside the fabric of your consciousness. Yes, just like that. So it's a step-by-step thing, but it's not something that can be pointed out, because everyone has their very own map of self-defeat and self-hatred. So this is actually a part of inviting yourself into the gentleness of surrender, which doesn't smack your body around. And for you specifically, who asked this question, this is very significant for you, because you have a tendency to run the extremity into the hardness. And it kicks you out again and again. So inviting this softness in, not to remove the strength and the power of that which happens in your surrender, but to balance it so that the softness becomes the way of your human being's life in that surrender. Yes. Yeah, so that was it. Okay, I gotta find the next question here. Okay. Another question. My heart has been on fire for about a month in response to a current relationship I am in with a man. I don't know how to move on, or if I don't know how to move on, or if I must stay. I feel And then there was some text mix up here. Okay. Do I stay with the fire in my heart and surrender? How will I know? I feel I can't let go, but staying doesn't feel loving and nourishing of my being. Yeah. The thing is that this fire that rises in our heart, if you knew properly the translation of okay, I'm just gonna use the word God or life is, I mean, it's the same thing. You all know what I'm talking about when I use that word. God's wrath, when that comes, it comes as this fire. And what it's calling for is that there is a full surrendering happening. I can speak from experience that the fire that rises in the heart always comes as a deeper invitation to love. What's happening in terms of when that becomes really hard on our human being is that, there is a balancing that needs to happen. And for you specifically, I would say that there is the softness is very easy for you. But when the energy of you needs to turn sharp, which is a part of the mature love, this is where you get a lot of trouble within your system with the conditioning that you have. You speak about this, that it doesn't feel loving and nourishing for your being. There are two sides to this. And the other side of this is that the nurturer, the mother nurturer, is only one aspect of the divine. The other one is deeply sharp. The other one is clear. And in some ways I could say that the nourishing without the clarity and the sharpness and the fire that comes through that heart as the cut in a way, if that is not included, the nourishing can become a nourisher of illusion as well. So there is there are different levels of compassion which is in play here. And the one compassion, or the one part of the compassion is the nourishing, but another part of the compassion is that fire which rises as wrath, and which is a call for or into the man as truth. And right there it's the same as demanding the bullshit to lay down. Because we are not only the softness and the nourisher as women or as women, just as we're not just the clarity as men. We all have to find within ourselves both aspects of being, which is both the clarity and the sharpness and the resting in that clarity, but as well also the softness. In that way, we will see that being itself, in its intelligence as mature love, it will go between that nourishing, both of ourselves and our surroundings, because there's no difference between you and your surroundings. There's no difference. So that invitation into truth happens as a deeper giving up of self-protection, a greater recognition of the love and also of the pain which is within the conditioning, and within that also a fierce rising as the defeater of everything which is inaccurate in the equation. And this comes as that fire of the heart. It also comes as fire in the head. It comes actually as fire through the whole system. As we let go deeper and deeper and we lose the identification within our systems, this fire will burn ourselves up on the inside and become a reflection of pure fire on the outside as well. Yeah. Okay. All right. Great gratitude for our meeting and a full-on invitation to strip everything naked within yourself. And of course to join for another time if it should feel good and right for you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.